In this video, we're going to show you how to install pads and rotors on your Honda Ridgeline located behind your rear wheels. Using a 22mm socket, loosen and remove your lug nuts. Go ahead and grab that wheel, pull it off, and set it aside. On the back side of your brake caliper, there's going to be two 14mm bolts. There's one on the top, one on the bottom. I'm going to break them both free. We'll go ahead and spin out the bottom first. Set this bolt aside. Before we remove the upper one, you want to go ahead and grab a caliper hook. Remove that upper bolt. And next we want to go ahead and remove the caliper itself. You may need some assistance of a pry tool or a flathead screwdriver just to try and work this out. Now ideally what you want to do is you want to support this caliper up. You don't want to have the caliper pulling on this flex hose, as you can damage the flex hose by doing that. So just support that up and out of the way. Next we can go ahead and remove our brake pads here. Next we want to remove our brake pads. In most cases you can slide them right out, but ours are stuck in there, probably due to rust and some corrosion. So you can use a screwdriver or a small pry bar. Work these out. Now if you're going to be reusing your pads, you want to be careful sliding this out. Don't damage the pad itself. You can gently work this out. Now the inboard pad has the squeak tab on it, so you want to make sure when you reinstall your old pad or you're installing new pads that the squeak tab goes on the inboard pad and it's located on the bottom. We can do the same for the outboard pad here. And there's no squeak tab on the outboard pad. Now we want to remove our brake caliper bracket. To do so, we have to remove the two 17mm bolts. Go ahead and remove the bolt and the caliper bracket and set that aside. Now before we remove our rotor, you want to go ahead and inspect here. Our particular rotor has a Phillips head screw. Now these are put on from the factory to hold the rotor on during assembly. If your rotor does not have the screw here, it's not critical to the operation. We're going to go ahead and remove this here using our Phillips head screwdriver. Now, for some reason, if your screw is stripped out, you can simply take a drill and drill this right out. Just remove the whole head of it, remove the rotor, and then remove the remainder of the screw, and you can discard it. Now at this point here, I want to go ahead and see if we can knock that rotor off. First, we'll try and grab it. We're just using our dead blow hammer here. Be careful when you're knocking it from the back that you don't want the rotor to shoot off. Sometimes you can put a lug nut on here, just a few threads to keep that rotor from flying off. Now before you install your brake rotor for the final time, you want to go ahead and clean up the hub face. You can use a simple bristle brush and scrub down our hub. You want to make sure that there's no rust around the flange here itself that would prevent that brake rotor from sitting flush. You can do the same on the face here. Use this here. You can use an air tool that has a little disc on it or something, or what we call a cleaning cookie, and clean this up. Now ours was already clean, so we don't have much coming off. Go ahead and spray it down with some solvent. Next thing you want to do is we like to use some anti-seize on the hub face. Before installing your new rotor, you want to go ahead and use a spray solvent. Spray it down to get rid of any of the shipping oils off of this. Don't forget to do the other side. And don't forget to do the inside where the parking brake shoes are going to ride. Now when installing your rotor, if you do have the screw to anchor the rotor to the hub, make sure you line this up with the hole. Now if you have that screw, go ahead and install it. If you don't have it, you can simply skip this step. Now on your old rotor, normally you would have a rubber boot here. This is an access port. If you have that rubber boot, go ahead and pop that on. That'll seal off that port. If not, you could probably source a replacement one. Let's go ahead and prep our brake caliper bracket. And then we want to go ahead and remove the slide pins. The first thing you want to do, go ahead and grab those slide pins, give them a rotation like this back and forth. Now, if these are sticking, they're frozen in place, well, we got a bigger issue. That means that the slide pin has frozen into the caliper bracket. You need to try and loosen those and get those out. In our particular case here, ours are freely moving, so we want to go ahead and peel these rubber boots back, rotate the pin, and slide this out. We're going to do the same on the other side. Now, if your pin is frozen, that probably means that one of these rubber boots is torn and moisture got inside and pretty much rusted this into the unit. In most cases, you're going to have to replace the boot, possibly a slider pin. You may even consider at this point replacing the whole caliper and bracket assembly. You're going to gently grab the rubber boot, kind of flex it around a little bit, and then grab it right at the base and peel this out. There's just a little rubber lip that locks it into place here. Do the same on the other side. Be careful taking out. You don't want to tear them if they're not bad. Now go ahead and grab that boot, stretch it out, and roll it. What you're looking for is any signs of wear, tear, splitting, something that could cause an issue down the road. Now that's in good shape. Do the same for this one here. And that is in good shape as well. Go ahead and flip this up, and you want to go ahead and pull the pad sliders out. And now we begin the metal prep. I'm going to use a bristle brush here, and you want to go ahead and clean up where those slides go. It's always good to wear safety glasses when you're doing a job like this, because you have rust and dirt flying all over the place, and you don't want that in your eyes. Go ahead and get a little aggressive with that. You want to make sure that that is clean. Now, if you have rust buildup inside here, go ahead and use a flat file. Go ahead and clean up on the inside. The other thing you can do is if you have something like this here that's square, go ahead and wrap a little bit of sandpaper around the handle, and you can actually rub it right inside to go ahead and clean that up. Now, we're just using a standard, this is a 400 grit right here. Simply hold that and go ahead and sand that out. Go ahead and give that a spray with some solvent. If you want, chase it one more time, and we'll spray it down one more time. You can see that that's nice and clean. I'm going to go ahead and repeat for the other side. Let's go ahead and grab our slide pins, wipe those off. You want to do an inspection on these here. Make sure that they're clean, free of any burrs or marks, rust, anything like that. And also you want to pay attention to the ridge right here. This is where the rubber boot is going to pop into place. If you see any rust in there, simply just grab your little bristle brush and clean that out. That way there, it's going to let that boot seal up nice and do its job. Do the same for this one here. Our next step is to go ahead and prep the ports on our caliper bracket. And this is crucial to the operation of the braking system here. I'm going to take a little bit of solvent. Make sure you're wearing safety glasses. Spray some solvent in here, not under high pressure, but just let some dribble in there. We're going to use a bore brush on our drill and go ahead and run that down there, cleaning that up. What this is doing is clean up any of the old grease, any rusty stuff that might be in there. Go ahead and spray that again and flush it out. Repeat for the other port. Now that our ports are cleaned out, we're just gonna go ahead and let that air out for a little bit. Go ahead and grab that boot. And I like to just kind of put my pinky in there and just kind of run that through there to clean out any garbage that might be inside, just old grease. You don't have to run any chemicals through this, but just to kind of get it pretty clean. All right, I'm gonna go back to our caliper bracket right here, and let's start our assembly. I'm going to take a little bit of silicone paste here, and we're just going to put a little bit inside both of these ports. Now, we don't want to pack it in here. We just want to make sure that our slide pins here have enough of lubrication inside there. Go ahead and grab your rubber boots. Make sure you have the ribbed side or that little lip going onto the caliper bracket itself, and just kind of work that into place. And pop that on and wipe off any excess there. Do the same on the other side. The silicone paste does help those rubber boots pop in nice and easy. Next step here, take your slide pin and put a thin coat of grease on here. Remember, do not cake it on. And insert this here. Push it on, the rubber boot will normally pops right onto the slide pin. Good, push that and rotate it. Let's go ahead and repeat this process for the other side. Now, if you're inserting the pins and it does not want to go in, it just keeps pushing that pin out. Let's see if we can get it to do it here. See how it's pushing out? You want to try and keep that from happening. So if you push in, apply some pressure, in most cases the air pressure will release. You can see that the boot is expanded, but if you continue to push down gently, it'll release it. And you can see that the pin just have that little amount of movement here. That's absolutely perfect. That's what you want. Right, so there we go. Give it a few turns. With our slide pins installed with the rubber boots, we can now go ahead and prep our slides here. Take your silicone paste, put a thin coat where they're going to go. Thin coat, so you can use your glove here, smear it around, wipe off any excess. Now, our slides are specific per side. So if you notice here, there's a narrow section here, it's a wider section here. So that'll help you narrow down which one of these lines up into place. So I'm going to pop this down. Now the center section right here has little tabs on it. So I'm going to show you on this one right here. There's little tabs that kind of lock into place. So when you push this in, you want to push that down so it locks on. Make sure that these are fully seated, and they are. So let's go ahead and flip this over. If you notice, I'm wiping off my gloves here. I don't want to get grease where it doesn't need to be. Go ahead and take the slide here, line that up. Push it down, and then push down on the tab here, locking that down and in. This point here, our caliper bracket is completely rebuilt and ready for installation. Next thing we want to do is need to go ahead and compress our piston into the caliper itself, so we're going to use this tool. Now you can use a C-clamp and install one of the brake pads here and then use a C-clamp on this. You're going to gently go ahead and compress this. You're pushing fluid back up into the master cylinder. And that is now fully seated. I'm going to go ahead and hang this back up out of the way. Let's go ahead and take our caliper bracket. I'm going to get our upper bolt started. Go ahead and get our lower bolt started. And go ahead and snug these down. Brake pads now. Now the inboard pad has the squeak tab located on the bottom. You're going to insert this tab into the slider. And then bring the upper portion up and in, rotate that into place, and push that in flush with the rotor. I'm going to go ahead and repeat for the outboard pad. There is no squeak tab on this one here, just in the inboard lower. If you notice, I did not put any grease on the slides here. You do not want that. If you put grease on the slides, then that is a spot where dirt and debris is going to stick to, causing resistance on your pads. You don't want that. Now it's safe to go ahead and grab that brake caliper. Slide that right up and over. If you have to, push in on those slide pins just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and get the upper bolt started. And then we'll get the lower one installed. Now let's go ahead and torque down our caliper bracket bolts. These two caliper bracket bolts go to 80 foot-pounds. Let's go ahead and repeat for the upper. Torque down the caliper bolts for your slide pins to 16 foot-pounds. In our case, our slide pin is actually rotating here. So simply going to grab an open end wrench to hold that in place. Now, if you find yourself needing to hold down that slide pin there, you're going to use a 17 millimeter open end wrench and then go ahead and torque that down. Now that you're torqued here, you want to go ahead and hop into the vehicle, pump up the brake pedal, make sure that the piston here expands and that pedal firms up. You want to go ahead and repeat this process for the driver's side. Grab your wheel, line that up. Let's go ahead and get your lug nuts started by hand. Once we get all these started by hand, we'll go ahead and snug them all down. Now you want to go ahead and torque down your lug nuts to 94 foot-pounds. When doing this, you want to do it in a crisscross or star pattern. and you're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.